Hey, what's going on, guys? Tuddle here for another edition of I don't even know what to call it. I do a hodgepodge of all types of stuff for my YouTube channel, so I'm filling it out. But one of the guys that I've always wanted to talk to because he gets it. He's a radio guy. He's a student of it, and he definitely gets it. His political views sometimes, get me out. But I don't support a political party anyways. I think all politicians are fucking crooked as it is. But on the line with me right now is Matt Masur. Matt, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Before we, get into this, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your experience, and how people can find you on social media.
Yeah, I'm a guy that's a lifelong nerd. I've been in the technology business for over 20 years, mostly for myself, doing IT work and software development, things like that. And in the last few 6-7 years or so, I've converted things and began to focus on the new media world. And along with that came creating content and becoming a content creator myself. And
thank you. That's what I'm trying to do, man. And I want to pick your brain on this. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. And that it took me all over the place. It took me to Bubba Army Radio, where we did a great daily show, the Matt Masur Show, for a couple of years. And I've been able to kind of transform my career into something that I've always been very good at. I'm great at technology, but it kind of lost its appeal after a while. So now I can do something I enjoy, and it's been great.
Unlike me, you have a radio voice. I don't. I am not built. I don't have this stereotypical voice when it comes to radio, but
no, you don't have the typical voice, but you have the voice that's different enough that it's good on radio.
See, that's what I get though. See, a lot of people will recognize me by my voice because, I have that very unique, distinct voice. And a lot of people will just hear me talking and be like, hey, you're not Tuddle, by the way, are you? And it's kind of helped me out. But, a lot of program directors have really, not given me a chance from my voice alone because they say that I don't sound good on the radio, which I think is a fucking horrible way to look at it because there's a lot of guys that have great radio voices, but they have no personality.
Right.
So, it's a little bit of a curse and a gift. And something you touched on, I've been doing radio since 1998. I got an internship and worked my way up. I got my 2-year degree in community college, and everybody was like, well, why don't you go study radio? And a lot of the people I worked with were like, you're just going to be wasting your money because everything you're going to learn there, you could learn easily as an intern and get better work experience.
Sure.
And, but talking about the way things have changed, when I first started in radio, it was just straight radio. You did your show and you had a couple of public appearances now, but like MySpace was the first social media that really came out. It's changed now because program directors look at that type of stuff now. They look at how you engage your audience. And because I think it goes back to radio stations found out that they can make money off the internet and sponsorship. Am I off basis by that?
What's that?
Am I off basis by saying that though? That program directors are looking at that type of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. That's been drilled into their heads now. And in many cases, they're a little late to the game, actually. But at this point, they are excited about that. And anything they can do to drag people to their old-ass media, they'll do.
See, we're doing real shows here, and I'm having to work because I'm at the Hobo Fish Camp right now, and I got a goddamn screen door that keeps shutting because of the weather. So back to what I was saying. So social media has changed the game, and there's so many different outlets now. Have you ever heard of Tom and Dan, my buddies here in Orlando?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so they got a really interesting story. They were on the Monsters in the Morning, great morning show, great ratings. They were all making great money, and they decided, and a pretty big contract, when their contract ended up, they got offered 6 figures to stay, and they were like, fuck you guys, we're going off and doing our own thing. They started a podcast, and they've grown it, and, their business model is so great because they do 3 shows a day. They do a free show for their audience, for new members to find out about it. They do a paid show, which I think they pay $1.99 a month, and they probably got like 5,000 subscribers. So, do the math right there alone. That's pretty damn good. Um, and then, it's funny, the radio station that they left ended up hiring them back because they were doing such a great job to do their show at night. So it's kind of like a great success story
Yeah.
that they went out and did their own thing. And then the old station they left begged them to come back.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
So what direction do you, in your opinion, they're expecting artificial intelligence
buddy.
is?
You cut out there. What was that?
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, sorry. So I'll edit all this out. So, but what I was saying is, with the AI and they're firing all these music jocks because they feel like they're going to be able to have computers, running the music. I think talk radio is a little bit more safer. But where do you see radio as we know it going right now?
I get a lot of shit about this opinion. Cause I got a lot of good friends and a lot of real good people in the radio business all over the country, and they get mad at me when I say this. Radio's dead.
Yeah, I agree.
And people get mad when I say that, and I don't. There's a lot of still great people in it. There's still definitely a lot of people listening. I mean, I do marketing, and I still have my clients. We do radio ad buys still, because there's still a little bit of an audience. And that's the thing that you learn. I know you're a Gary V guy.
Yeah.
If you look at these different outlets and like Gary talks to you about the value you get for your dollar and how many people can you reach for that one ad dollar on Facebook or LinkedIn or on the radio locally. And if you can get that to the right amount, it makes sense because, whether their radio used to have 1 million listeners, well, now they got 10,000. It's still 10,000 people I wouldn't mind hitting. So if the price is right, there's still a value. But
so let me ask you this though, with streaming now and them embracing being online now and doing podcasts and stuff like that, do you think that that's going to delay the death of radio, or do you think it's already too late?
No, and I don't even think, like, I can't speak. There's a lot of these local mom and pop, especially like in my market. There's a couple of locally owned clusters that are really investing in the people in the community, and they're not playing the corporate game as much. Similar to, like, you've got Beasley's a little bigger, but they kind of have that mentality.
Yeah.
You look at iHeart, and I've said this for years, when they were Clear Channel, the reason they changed to iHeart, if you noticed, is because they rolled out that app, and they've pushed aggressively since the name change. It's been a few years now. Aggressively get the app. Even if you like our radio station, listen to our radio station on the app. Get it. And they've been driving their audience as much as they can, and they have. They're like the number 1 or number 2 music app behind Spotify and Sirius and all them. And what that allows them to do is they've just pulled their audience from the very expensive hundreds or however many stations they own across the country to this app that it requires, pennies on the dollar in terms of overhead to run. I run an app, the capacity of the iHeart app. So if you have the right technology, it's not hard to do. And they're going from billions of dollars of overhead to $1 million. So obviously they want that to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. But like, all right, so, but so you really think it's already too late. Like, there's nothing that regular radio can do to save itself.
I think it's becoming an obsolete medium, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
It's radio's biggest advantage always was how easy it was to get. Right?
You got
alarm clock. Everybody's got radios in their house. Everybody's car since, the beginning of cars has had a radio built in out of the box, not an extra upgrade. So you could always get, and of course that's why drive time, of course, is the gold in radio.
Yeah, mornings and afternoon drive.
Because people get in their cars because the fucking radio was in their car.
Yeah.
But that's becoming rapidly not the case anymore.
So this is a question that I have though. Like, now has like Arbitron or whatever the rating system is called now.
Yeah.
Are they rating the online stuff now, or like, because they've only done the ratings when it comes to the terrestrial, whatever? Because I know you hate that word, terrestrial.
Supposedly they are, and the different companies have released different things, and they've had different ways to measure that, and some has worked and some hasn't. They've struggled with it, which is weird because online's the one place where you can actually get accurate numbers.
Yeah,
Versus
because you
what
know
they've always done
yeah.
is fucking like voodoo math, you
Oh,
know?
it's so archaic. Like, when I tell people like how many like ppm meters account for the whole Tampa St. Pete area, it blows their goddamn minds
Yeah.
for the ratio of amount of meters they got out compared to the amount of people that are in the community.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Right. And there's no way that's anything they've ever been able to, stand behind. Um, but the nice thing about online, you don't need those traditional companies. You've got all these various outlets that are giving you incredible analytics. You have control of collecting that data yourself and being able to produce it to a customer. And to me, that's a hell of a lot more value. If I'm a business owner and I want to advertise, and you can say to me, listen, I can guarantee you that we can reach these 3,000 people, not just in your area, but that specifically are looking for your product.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can blast something over the airways, and whoever we catch, we catch. And by the way, I can't even necessarily tell you how many people we caught. It's, the data-driven decision is where people are going.
Let me give you an example. I'm just a small fry now, but me growing my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle, I've grown it. I'm about 2,500 subscribers right now, but I had my first person, because I do a lot of fishing out by the seawall, and a bait and tackle shop wanted me to review their product, like lures and poles and stuff like that. They sent me $100 worth of merchandise and $100 cash to do a 5-minute video of me just using their product and reviewing it, because like on YouTube, it's amazing the stupid shit that catches on, like unboxing videos, so I unboxed the product, I showed everything, I hooked it up, I used it, caught a couple of fish on it, and I made $100 for a 5-minute video. And I was like, I know that it's not going to be that easy, but it just shows that you could actually make a little bit of an income if you play it right.
Well, yeah, that's in those types of unboxing and review videos are some of the most popular types of content on YouTube. And it kind of makes sense, right? Because, I mean, look at what we've done. We're killing retail stores. And understandably, we all order from Amazon. It makes the most sense. They have what we need. It's quick. It's cheap.
You got this from Gary V, because he's. I've heard him talk about this whole thing, and I'm a big Gary V mark. So it's just amazing. I could sit here and talk about some of the shit that I've learned. But he did say, like, 7-Eleven, Walmart, all those stores are going to go the way of the dinosaur if they don't start selling their. And you look at Walmart, they're doing everything online now. Target, everybody's going that direction.
Exactly. And, a lot of the things that they're saying, like the Best Buy and all these, what you have is you'll have a lot of folks that come into Best Buy so they can put their hands on the thing. They'll look at it over. They'll check out which model they want. Then they'll go home and order it online. Sometimes you can't do that, obviously. So these how-tos and these reviews and these unboxing videos have become a real good necessity if you're shopping for a product. Like I can't put my hands on it. Let me see a real person play with it, flip it around, and act like a human, and give me some kind of idea of this product. And that's those types of things are huge, and I think they're only going to get bigger.
Yeah, on the line with me right now is Matt Masur. Where can people check you out? You got a website, right?
I got a bunch of websites. The best place to go is 315 Live. So 315live.fm.
Now, why 315? I've always seen that. Is that like your area code where you're at, or?
Yeah, that's the local area.
And where are you at? Utica or?
I'm in what's known as Central New York, technically Syracuse, but I'm originally from the Utica area. I used to have a studio out in Utica. I used to commute about an hour in between, and
a lot of people told me when I told them that I was going to be talking to you, the number one thing is, and this is something I want to talk to you about, is everybody gets so much heat with you about your political views.
They do. It's great.
And I love it. See, because, my whole view on politics is I still vote. Okay. I don't want people to take, because a lot of people, when I tell them my political view, is like, oh, if you don't vote, you don't have a right to have an opinion on this. But that's completely false. If I don't vote, I still have the right to be able to give you my opinion on who is fucking sucking and shit like that. But I do vote. The way I look at it is I don't really believe in politicians. I know you're a big Bernie man, and he might be the closest thing to a politician that is not corrupt. Okay. because he's doing it by small means. He's getting small donations. I'm sure he maybe has a couple of big corporations that donate to
Zero.
him. Zero. Okay, so then I was wrong.
He
But
actually, funny story real quick. He's so on to his message and his promise that he won't take big dollars and he won't take billionaires. There was a billionaire's wife who sent him a donation of $100, and when they figured out who it was and that she was married to a billionaire, they sent her money back.
Now, okay, so you're a big Bernie fan. Tell me why. What are a couple of the key things that make you think that Bernie is the guy? Like, why do you support him?
So there's a number of reasons. From a policy standpoint, which I think is where everybody should start with folks, is Medicare for all.
I agree.
He put that plan together. He's been promoting it for years. It's been looked at. It would save us money. It would cover everybody. And it would do so many things to free people up from jobs that they hate, but they stay at because they've got insurance, and companies that can't give you a cash raise because they got to spend that money on the insurance. There's so many things that Medicare for all would do for us. That's the biggest.
What do you say to the people that automatically use the buzzwords? He's a socialist. He wants to, take money away from the rich and give it to the poor that don't want to work. What do you say to those people?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, he's a democratic socialist, and there is a big difference. I know people, he's a communist, and that's not even remotely close to anything. We've had democratic socialism in this country forever. FDR was a democratic socialist. He brought in the New Deal. He brought in all kinds of programs, Social Security, 40-hour work weeks, all kinds of things that we love and that we celebrate and we think are some of the best parts of this country. That's what Bernie is. Mm-hmm. He's not anti-capitalist. He doesn't think that you can't make a profit or you shouldn't run a business or anything along those lines. He's not a full-blown socialist that wants to seize the means of production. We're not doing anything like that. What it means to Bernie, what it means to myself, is we need to use our tax dollars, the money we already pay, to benefit ourselves, to help our own people, rather than just giving handouts to huge corporations and spending money on war and all these other things that we're just burning our money with. Meanwhile, we're the only country in the civilized world that doesn't have some kind of nationalized health care.
But let me ask you this. So this is one of the things that it concerns me. Okay. So, Trump wants to claim that, the economy is great. We're making a lot of money. But, I try to explain because my dad is a hardcore Trump supporter. But, he's right in the demo. So it does not shock me. And I try to tell him that what scares me the most, the stock market's doing well. We got money coming in. It's just the deficit is at an all-time high. And, I've done a lot of reading and, we're getting close to that point where people are just going to be like, fuck America. We're not giving you guys or loaning you any money because we'll never be able to pay it off when it gets to a certain point. So if Bernie has all these plans of helping people out, isn't that only going to add to the deficit?
Well, no, because Bernie's plans are all paid for. And
how though?
They're paid for a variety of ways, but the most dominant way is we're going to tax these top corporations and these top billionaires who have gotten, in many cases, exclusively all these tax breaks over the last. Which is
bullshit. Which is bullshit.
That's not bullshit at all.
No, I'm not. No, I said.
Oh, you're saying it's bullshit that they got them. I got you.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
I got you. I understand.
I'm saying that it's bullshit that they get all these tax breaks.
Yeah. And that's what happens when they're allowed to buy the system, right? They're running the show basically. So of course it's going to be tilted in their favor.
But what do you say to the people though? Oh, well, if we tax more of the corporations, they're going to pass it along and fire some people and stuff like that. What do you say about that though?
I say that's not been America's history. And if you look back, you and I are about the same age. And unfortunately,
Just turned 40.
yeah, you and I came to be right around the time where things started going downhill.
Yeah.
But right before us, in our parents' heyday, corporate tax rates in the highest tax brackets at one point were at 90%. In fact, I believe the highest rate at the peak was 92%. At the time, the Rockefellers were the only ones in the country who made enough money to hit that bracket. They actually created that bracket for those people, which is a little wild. But and you think, oh my God, that's horrible. All that money and people personalize it, which is kind of interesting. You think of, oh my God, if you took, if the tax bracket was 40%, you took 40% of my income, that's you'd kill me. These guys don't miss a beat. And if you go and look at our economic history, if you go look at this country, not other countries, not any crazy, wacky shit, look at our history. You kind of froze. You still got me?
No, I'm good. I heard
cool.
you. I heard everything.
Just look at our history, and you'll see that when the taxes were the highest, the middle class was the strongest. This is when, you and I get to watch this in like old TV shows, and it seems weird to us.
Yeah.
But, you had one person working in a family of four. You could have a housewife because you didn't need two incomes. But you had a nice home. You had two cars in the family. They took vacations every year. This is because people paid their fair share. And the other thing they did is these top tax brackets, a lot of people think, well, the government's taking their money. What high taxes force people to do is to spend the money so the government doesn't get it. And
take it,
in the form of tax credits and things like this. But spending is what fuels the economy. We
I agree.
to spend it. And what these tax cuts have allowed folks to do is literally hoard it. So these billionaires, they don't just have all this money. They're not spending it. They are sucking it straight out of the economy. And there is a finite amount at some point.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting on it. And we're all fighting over the crumbs, literally.
Yeah. So
that's the problem.
I don't want to bore people with politics. I could talk about it forever, but most people will get bored about it. My last political question is, okay, so say Bernie does win the Democratic nomination and he has to go up against Trump. My main concern is how Bernie will do in a debate against Trump, because Trump, he loves to be aggressive and try to intimidate. And is Bernie going to be quick enough at his age to be able to stand toe-to-toe with Trump when it comes to a debate?
Well, first of all, their age is about 2 years apart. So,
I understand that, but people think Bernie is a lot
I know
older.
He's got the white hair. He looks like the old guy. He is the most spry motherfucker. If you watch the videos of him playing basketball and baseball, he would run circles around my fat ass at half his age. But he's incredibly sharp, and he's actually quite witty, and I'm excited to see it, quite honestly, because Trump will get his normal zingers, and Bernie will either let them roll right off his back, they just won't be able to land the punch, or he'll give one back in his very own Larry David sort of way that'll prove the point.
Do you think Bernie has to fight fire with fire, though? Or if he just lets Trump, take all the cheap shots and stuff, do you think, people are going to be like, oh, Trump got this? Because Trump uses buzzwords. He's like a wrestler. He does, he goes for that stuff. How do you think Bernie's going to handle it? Do you think he's going to get dirty like Trump, or
no? No, like I said, he'll get some of his zingers in there, but as you've seen in these other debates, they're not insult style like Trump. He'll give you a zinger about a fact, or the fact that you voted against this thing or something like that, and point out some hypocrisy. But and what'll happen is, and we can see it now, there's two camps that are completely unmoved. No matter what Trump did, if Trump just took his pants down and shit on the floor, they'd go, look at that, he kicks ass. There's just they're unmoved. The folks that really sit back and look, I think, will appreciate. Bernie won't stoop to his level, and while the Trump fans will go, oh look, he slugged him because Bernie didn't necessarily slug him back the same way. The folks actually paying attention will realize that, well, one guy's talking what's the issues, and the other guy's just slinging shit.
All right, I'm going to get back into radio here, and something that I've been interested in. I wanted to find out who were the radio guys that you grew up listening to that, got you interested in the business. Like, Bubba asks this question all the time, so I'm kind of biting on him. But, like, what would be your Mount Rushmore of radio guys if you had to pick?
Well, I want to say, I'll tell you who my Mount Rushmore is, but my first one isn't necessarily that. The first thing that I ever listened to when I was a kid locally was a guy by the name of Bill Keeler.
Okay.
And he's still in the market.
What kind of radio did he do? Was he talk
radio
guy?
Morning, shock jock,
okay.
Type of a little bit of nut huddy type of stuff. And he's still in the market today, which is, I think, one of the things that talks about how outdated radio is. He's good, but it's time to go. The Mount Rushmore is Howard. So
yeah, Howard definitely.
I was a big Howard guy. And I really was getting into him his final years in FM, so I made that jump immediately to satellite, and that's when I was introduced to Bubba.
See, now, I when I worked at Real Radio 104.1, I don't know, do you know about that radio station? It's a heralded. People always tell me it's like one of the true first FM talk radio stations out there. And our lineup, we had Howard. They built the whole radio station around Howard.
Yeah.
Howard was the foundation, and they put a lot of local talent around him. And I was on the midday show, and it was weird doing radio because when you did middays, you didn't know what time you were going on the air because Howard could go as long as he wanted to. So, sometimes you get there early and you'd be like, fuck, Howard's still on at 11. And then we'd only have to do a little bit of a shorter show. So yes, right. I definitely give Howard his props. See, I hate it when other radio guys or people are like, oh, Howard, they want to diss him, but I'm never that type of guy. Like Howard is definitely, the godfather of radio.
He's the best there is and ever will be.
But do you think? But what about the listeners of Howard's now that say that he's changed, though? I mean, he really kind of had to change with the time. If you notice, he's getting a lot more bigger stars doing interviews because before Howard would be that guy, he's going to fucking embarrass you or he's going to ask questions that you're not particularly going to like. For example, he had Hillary Clinton on. Do you think old Howard would have been able to get Hillary on? No. I don't think he would have.
Not at all.
So he's had to change with the times. So I still look at him as one of the greatest, but I hate how he's getting a little bit of hate from those hardcore listeners that are like he's changed.
You can't pay attention to that shit, unfortunately, as you know.
Yeah.
People are going to hate on you, and the more popular you are, the bigger the audience, the more you're going to see those haters. And the thing about it is, you see this a lot. I've got a big problem specifically on Facebook with the local news stories.
Yeah.
Because in the comment thread under the local news stories, and from what folks tell me, it's not just my area, it's just about all these areas. It's nothing but right-wing comments, hardcore right-wing troll comments, aggressive insults right out of the box, slings at whatever the fucking story is about, no matter what it is. And you don't see anything else. And you look at that and you go, holy fuck, everybody around here feels this way.
Yeah.
Literally everybody's a Trump supporter. But it's not the case. What happens is these folks have driven everybody out. So nobody wants to engage with them. Nobody wants to argue with them. Nobody wants to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
So, but what you're left with is a pile of things that make you look like it that way. And you see the same thing with the hate things. The people that love you are not posting every day about how much they love you. The people just don't do that.
Nope.
But you get these assholes, you get these Richard Longwoods of the world that want to run their mouth. And I joke him. I actually we met up with him out in Philly.
He's a good guy, though.
He's a good guy.
He's definitely a good guy. And
he's a lunatic. But you know what I mean. There's always these guys that they're a hater, but they know everything you've done, and they pay attention to every minute of every bit of content you put out. But those guys will always be there. Fuck 'em.
So back to your Mount Rushmore. So you had Howard. Like, who are some of the other radio guys?
Well, Bubba's got to be.
Bubba.
Bubba is, first of all, it was weird because I actually lived in the Tampa area for a short time. And what I've pieced together now after the fact, learning about these things, is I came in to the Tampa area like right around when Bubba got thrown off of radio.
The first time when he got from Clear Channel?
Yeah. When he was unemployed and all the guys were out of work for, I don't know, 6 months or whatever when they did that. That was when I came. So I was in the market, but didn't know anything about Bubba until Sirius came out, and I got Sirius. Howard came to Sirius when I was living in Tampa, and they're like, here's this guy. Oh, and he's from Tampa. I'm like, oh, cool. This guy's local. You know, I'm a fucking idiot. Don't realize that obviously he's a legend already. But just because I happen to live there, and this guy was a local guy on Sirius, I'm paying attention to him, and I came to really, really like that show. And I've worked for myself for a long time. I'm self-employed. I used to do a lot of web design, shit like that. I'd sit at home by myself, and you could flip that on, and those are my coworkers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Breaking balls with a bunch of guys. It was great, and I loved that. And I loved that feeling, and I always wanted to do that. And, you know, eventually when I started doing my own thing and I did some stuff, it caught Bubba's eye, and he's given me incredible opportunities that nobody else has. So, you know,
I mean,
Howard
Bubba's
might be
done it for me.
the top, but, you know, I will always absolutely love what that guy did for me. He's been phenomenal.
And who's your fourth?
Fuck, I don't know. I don't listen to them. That's the problem. I found a couple of these guys, and I don't change the channel.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays he's not radio, but I put you know, like Joe Rogan is.
Yeah, no, see, that's I'm glad you brought him up. So that's going to be the last thing that I want to talk to you about, and then I'll let you go. But I would love to talk to you some more on another day. Sure. I know you're busy, but Joe Rogan, what is it that he's done? What is his secret? I mean, when you watch his show, it's not like he's like doing anything that other radio people haven't done. What is his appeal? Why has he been able to garner that hardcore audience that will follow him to the edge of the world?
That's a phenomenal question. To some degree, I will say that he's just done it, right? And now I feel like Gary Vee again, but you know, before he's huge now. Everybody knows him now. He makes news when he interviews people now, but he's been doing this shit for a real long time.
Yes.
And he's been on top of it, drilling podcasts when nobody knew what the fuck a podcast was. And, you know, he's been grinding to get his position where he's at. And he's good at it. So after you're there long enough, people eventually discover you. And when they do, they see, hey, this guy's pretty damn good. So, you know, he's got the personality, he's got the attitude that holds an audience, and you know, he lines up the good guests that the audience wants to see. So that's the formula, and just putting that formula in place and doing it forever. You're either just going to burn out or you're going to do what he's done and hit. I think he's up to making 30 million this past year.
That's amazing. Well, Matt, I really appreciate the time. I would love to do this again. If you know, I know your time's very valuable, but, you know, I want to talk to you. I'd like to sit down away from the radio and recording stuff and just pick your brain about, you know, what I'm trying to do. You know, yes, I'm not getting away from radio, but I don't want to be in that position again where I'm out of work and don't have a platform, you know. So I definitely want to pick your brain. So tell people once again how they can find you, all your social, whatever.
Yeah, the best place is 315live.fm. That's the network that I built a long time ago. It's got all kinds of content from a wide variety of shows, not just me. And, of course, at Matt Major on everything, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even though I haven't actually posted a video yet.
See, on all my social media, I always get on it first, and I've had straight Tuddle. I've had Tuddle on everything, and I slept on TikTok, and that's the only social media I have that's just not Tuddle. I had to do Tuddle on the radio, which I feel like a complete douchebag now that all my social media doesn't line up.
Wait, what asshole stole Tuddle?
I have no idea. It might have been you.
It wasn't. I wish I thought of it, though.
Yeah. So, all right, man, I appreciate it. Hopefully this was okay for you.
Hey, man, it's great. You know, anytime.
So, and hopefully I'll have better equipment and we'll be able to get this going. But I really appreciate your time. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man, anytime.